What's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna do a review of the new Big Ghost, M.A.V, and Rob Gates album entitled The Dark Side of Nature. Let's get to it. Rob Gates and M.A.V are two MCs coming out of Rochester, New York. Of course, Rochester has witnessed a nice little hip hop movement similar to Buffalo over the last few years, in that you have seen newer artists embracing more traditional New York rap. But Rob Gates and M.A.V are both members of the Rochester collective known as The Cloth. So it's not like these two randomly linked up to record an album. These guys clearly have some chemistry together, and you can feel it throughout this album. So for this album, The Dark Side of Nature, Rob Gates and M.A.V both teamed up with Big Ghost, who produced all the beats. Most of you know Big Ghost's production work from what he's done with Griselda, like on Griselda Ghosts, Conway's No One Mourns the Wicked, and songs he's produced for 38 Special. Big Ghost's production is a real highlight to this album, plain and simple. He brings forth a suspenseful, eerie, and cinematic soundscape. And that's really the main takeaway from this album, is that it was very cinematic. All three seem to make it their mission to give you a body of work that plays out like a movie. I mean, this feels like music to be played at nighttime. It's that ski mask, black gloves, black hoodie, duct tape, and robbery music. However, as much as I enjoyed this project, I can't say that M.A.V and Gates do any incredible storytelling or offer up any interesting takes on street life that haven't already been done before. They just don't. While they do succeed in painting a picture of a life of crime, they do it in a very basic and straightforward way. That's not a dig, but I do think the production outshined them at times on this album. Although in fairness, they had some moments here and there, especially M.A.V, who in my opinion is the strongest lyricist out of the two. But Rob Gates has a raw and grimy presence that makes him stand out as well. He didn't say a whole lot to impress me, but I could appreciate his fiery flow and just that hard body energy. His voice kind of reminds me of Uncle Murder. It's not a smooth flow by any means. Clearly, M.A.V has the smoother flow between the two of them. But with that being said, let me go ahead and give y'all a track by track breakdown. On the prelude, Gates and M.A.V are talking over some suspenseful instrumentation, which leads us into the first actual song, Bad News. The beat here is very dark and menacing. The rock-style production reminded me of a few of the beats on Conway's No One Mourns the Wicked. Track 2, Bloodhounds, is a continuation of this eerie, guitar-heavy production. What stood out the most to me with Bloodhounds was the back-and-forth rapping between Gates and M.A.V. You don't really get that much from rappers these days, so I thought it was dope that two artists from a newer generation were doing it. Gates said, "I play with sharks like I'm Willie Beeman." I like these first two songs as they really established an ominous vibe. I thought M.A.V shined lyrically on the following track, Said What I Said. The beat kind of sounded like The Exorcist theme music, you know, those evil and menacing keys. M.A.V stated, "We was trying to eat, but other times we was dead wrong, turned a transaction to a homie, then tread on." The track ends with a clip from the movie Taxi Driver, where De Niro was buying guns from that shady dealer in the apartment. If you ever saw that movie, that was a pretty cool scene. I really like the watery keys on the following record, Wild Card. Again, M.A.V and Gates are presenting the dark side of street life, as there's nothing glamorous at all about their crime tales here. Then on Green Lights, M.A.V talked about the lessons he's learned being in the hustle game. I really like this instrumental, especially the strings and the jazzy bass line. It definitely had a unique production sound, which made it stand out from the others. The track Tombstone finds the duo doing some storytelling over a more minimalist boom bap beat. I thought they both had decent verses on this one. It's not my favorite or anything, but it was a solid cut for sure. We get back to some very moody production on the record Left for Dead. On top of some wailing electric guitars, the duo talk street credibility while also issuing some threats. They are accompanied by a fellow member of The Cloth, Riggs. I really thought Gates killed this hook. M.A.V also sounded pretty cold-blooded with his verse, "Cement shoes for the boat ride," and The cemetery looking like a chessboard. You got your next move planned. I got my next four. On Said Less Did More. The most interesting thing for me was the sample, which you might remember from the Nas, Nori, and Tragedy Gaddafi song Calm Down that had the chorus, music makes these thugs calm down. I think the duo shine bright lyrically on the following record, Authenticated. I like this one a lot. Mav lets you know that his priorities are a little different from the next man, as he states, while you worried about the OnlyFans bitch doing headstands, I'm just hoping that the heck don't jam. So clearly he's cut from a cloth that's a little different from you social media dudes out there. This also might have had the best Rob Gates verse on the whole tape. I like the scratching towards the end of the song as well. Then we finally get a glimpse into the duo's upbringing on the track By Myself. This was the first moment that really humanizes them. It's also the only real introspective and poignant moment on this LP, as an overwhelming majority of this album seems dedicated to making really hardcore street records. You know, this is the only one where they show some real emotion. The closing track, Smoking Aces, is essentially a posse cut featuring all members of The Cloth, going in over a crispy boom bap beat. It's 8 minutes long. I like some of the flows and wordplay throughout. This had a strong mid to late 90s feel. Overall, I give this album a rating of 4 out of 5. Like I said earlier, the Big Ghost production is what made this album special, but I think Gates and Mav also succeed in bringing the listener into their very dark and shadowy world. There was nothing pretty about their subject matter. It was often a brutal and grim reminder about the harsh realities of street life. However, to be honest, they didn't rap about this lifestyle in the most creative or compelling way. Sure, they could rap well enough, but at times their bars were just average. Like, they weren't on the same level lyrically as, say, Ito or 38 Spesh. But I can appreciate how Gates and Mav came across as very authentic, and there was something unique about how the two of them sounded together, as this project for sure showcases the great chemistry that they possess on records. I was getting some Sporty Thieves street cinema vibes while listening to this thing, which was a good thing, as that was a very slept on criminology rap project. So if you like New York street rap with a very cinematic sound, then this album is one that you shouldn't sleep on. My favorite tracks include Bloodhounds, Wild Card, Green Lights, Left for Dead, Authenticated, By Myself, and Smoking Aces. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section below. What should I check out next? It's your boy, Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Big Ghost, Rob Gates, Mav, The Dark Side of Nature, 1.